Hey everyone, in this video we're meeting Art and Mary, a retired couple who set out to build an energy-efficient, allergen-free home and ended up living fully off the grid. They have a massive solar power system for the majority of their electrical needs. They process all their own firewood, grow and forage a lot of their own food in the summer, and they collect rainwater for watering the gardens. Art and Mary are a really inspiring couple, and it was interesting to sit down with them to find out why and how they're thriving in their off-grid lifestyle. So let's go meet up with them and find out more. This video is sponsored by Audible. We'll give you more information about them at the end, plus the details to get a free audiobook and more.
Well, I don't think we really started off initially as wanting to be off-grid. We wanted to build a home that would be good for Mary's allergy conditions. Something that maybe would address possibility of mold. Anything that we could eliminate, that's what we looked at. And then when we discovered what it was going to cost to bring electricity into the place, that's when we looked at alternative, which is off-grid.
We had our bucket list, we had things we wanted, and we had originally started looking closer to the GTA area where we were living, and it was just so pricey. So we just kept moving geographically further and further out.
So this was a good location. You know, Mary loves trees and rocks and water. You got those three pieces on the property, she's a happy camper.
And one of my bucket list items was to make my own maple syrup one day. And that potential was here, lots of maple trees. Having wildlife close at hand. I mean, we've had bear, beaver, fox, we've had it all. That's all real part of what we really wanted, just to be close to nature, hang my clothes out, garden, do a lot of wild harvesting, so there's all of that out there.
I guess our checklist would be different than somebody who, say, is 20 years old and just getting started. I mean, we're retired, so there were certain priorities. You know, there are challenges sometimes in getting a new doctor, and we also wanted someplace where the services would be handy. We didn't want to be traveling great distances to buy groceries.
There may come a time where we can't use stairs, and we would like to be able to stay here as long as possible, and so we decided that an all-in-one floor would be the best way for us to stay here.
Yeah, and I guess we also talked to our architect about making something easy and simple so that we could maybe have a hand in the building. We have over 2,400 square feet. If you look at the walls, they're 16 inches thick. They're R40. The ceiling is R60. And underneath the concrete floor here, we have 6 inches of spray foam. Our windows are triple glaze. You don't realize, but there's 3 panes of glass there to reduce the heat loss. So in the summer, it's a cool house, but in the winter, it's a warm house. And we don't have air conditioning. We just heat with wood, basically. And because of the orientation of the house and the way it's built, it's exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, both passive and active solar. Active solar, of course, are the panels, and the passive solar is when all the leaves are off the trees and the sun is, closer to the horizon, and it just floods all of the concrete floor and warms it up, and then that heat is emitted throughout the night. It's really quite dramatic how effective that passive solar is. I mean, it's fresh in the morning. You just grab your house coat, but really, and then first one up always puts the fire on.
Yeah. So we have 12 solar panels and 16 batteries. We have a 2.8 kilowatt system, which in many respects is small for a lot of people, but for just the two of us, it's excellent. It provides enough power that we live as comfortably as anybody in the city. And if you just simply came out here and didn't see the solar panels, you wouldn't really know that this house was off-grid. We have our computers on all day long. We watch movies quite often in the evening. Yeah, I mean, like Mary does 90% of her baking just on the counter with a little toaster oven.
Yeah. And we've transitioned to Instant Pot cooking, and that really reduces the draw as well. Yeah. It's quite surprising. We didn't even think about a dryer. We have a conventional washing machine, conventional fridge, freezer. I like to sew, and when I sew, I always have my iron on. And Art was pretty insistent on the fact that I needed to buy one of these irons that you put on your wood stove so you could heat up this metal. I'm like, no, the iron is staying. And it turns out that our system completely handles it. Yeah. Now I won't. If we've had a day or two of dull weather, I won't iron. Like I won't sew rather, because I know I like my iron handy there.
We discovered that in the summertime, by usually lunchtime, our batteries were full, which meant that all afternoon, all that beautiful sun energy, we were not getting any advantage of it. So, much to my surprise, we installed 2 electric water heaters, one under the sink in the kitchen and another in the mechanical room. Our water from the well, and our well is 200 feet deep, comes into our pressure tank. And because I'm trying to reduce the number of times that the well pump has to come on, I've had the installers put in the largest pressure tank available. From the pressure tank, the water then goes into the hot water heater. So when the water comes in from the well, let's say it's at this temperature, when we take a shower, we want it up at this temperature. The electric heater will bring it up to here, and then it comes from there into the propane heater, which takes it the rest of the way. So instead of using propane to heat the water from down here up to here, we're only using propane to go from here to here. Now, if you're like me, sometimes you forget that you turn things on and leave them on. So what we have done is, rather than use the switch here for turning it on and off, we have installed on the wall here in the mechanical room a timer switch. So we can turn that on, it will run for 2 hours. We go away, if we forget about it, it doesn't matter. It's not going to drain our batteries. So we don't use the electric water heater all the time, but when our batteries are full and the sun is out and we still have 4 or 5 hours of solar power available, then why not make use of it? Why not put it into creating hot water? And this is our battery bank. We have 16 batteries. It gives us a 2.8 kilowatt system, and we were expecting the batteries to last us 10 years. Our first set lasted 6. So these were installed last October of 2018, and we'll see. We've made some small changes. We shortened the wire that comes from the charger, and we're also put the batteries on carts, so we're going to be able to move those around from time to time just to give them a different position, so that maybe the different current flow will extend their life somewhat. We'll see what happens. Well, the building code requires your heating system to be somewhat independent. So something had to be installed that would allow the house to be heated even if we weren't here. And I know there's going to come a day when I'm not going to feel like cutting down trees and chopping wood. That's just the reality. In the in-floor heating, you've got 4 motors running. And so there's a bit of a draw there, but they're all low wattage motors. But then we have a generator, which is controlled by computer chips. And if the batteries are getting too low, the generator will come on to bring them up to what level they should be. The in-floor heating, the hot water comes off of the propane tank. You can see it here. I have it closed off right now because we're not using it. But the hot water flows into this exchange box, and so then the water from the floor heats up, goes back down into the floor, and we've got the 3 pumps there that control the different zones in the house. And each zone is on a thermostat. We don't often use all the rooms. We heat maybe the bathroom floor, and if the guest bedroom is being used, we'll heat that up. Otherwise, we depend upon our wood stove.
We have a well. We witched for the well, and the gentleman who dug for the well said, well, witching works if you're only going 15 feet or something. He said, you just pick your spot and we'll drill. Well, 20 rods later, he still wasn't getting a drop of water. And to the tune of about $10,000, we had this hole and no water. And that was getting us a little bit concerned. And he said, oh, not a problem. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll frack it.
When everything was finished and they tested for the flow, it worked out to 5 gallons a minute. We've never had an issue.
We've never had issue with water. And you also did a lot of research before we added pumps and things.
Yeah, all low draw.
Yeah.
Slow start, so it doesn't just kick on and yank a bunch of juice out of the batteries. Something else with the water is you've noticed we have some outdoor water storage tanks on different locations on the house. So we collect a fair bit of rainwater. We have a capacity right now for 1,000 gallons. So like in July, we had some hot, dry periods of time. And it was just great to be able to water the gardens. Because we both enjoy fresh vegetables from our garden.
From about the second week of May till October, we eat every day from the garden. So that's pretty significant. We find our grocery bill really drops. A big consideration, a very big one, is wood. The management of wood, and we've tried different systems. We look for trees while the leaves are on, and we mark the trees, and then once
You mark the ones that are dying.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then once the winter comes, the trees have to get cut down, and then we try to get them bucked as best we can, size down. And then in the spring, we bring them up and cut them up and can haul our wood up onto the porch. And then it's right outside the door. We started to investigate looking at solar versus hydro. And we found when we had someone from hydro come up and they priced out what it would cost to get hydro, and then we had someone quote us a price for a solar system that we specified, and $15,000 cheaper to go the solar route. And that was, we're not talking about the monthly bills, we're just talking right up front.
Now, having said that, it's not free. All right. If somebody is out there thinking, oh, we'll go solar and then our energy issues are going to be free from now on, that's not the case. The batteries do have to be replaced from time to time. Everything has a cost to it, and you have to decide what you are comfortable with or what you can handle. It's not for everybody. Living off-grid isn't without its challenges and responsibilities. You can't just pick up the phone and tell the service guys to come on over and we got a problem. You had to figure out, what the situation is. Fortunately, we've got very supportive people. The people that installed the solar system are local. So that's something that I think if you're considering being off-grid, it's critical to have somebody close by that can advise you. That's what I would suggest. In the wintertime, often, just to I think we're trying a little different approach, just to keep the batteries a little fresher, a little longer. We're a little more comfortable having the generator run for an hour in the first thing in the morning. That's when the big draw is. And if we're doing the generator, Mary will say, well, I might as well do a load of laundry. Because our generator will generate more power than our solar system will. So it'll feed the batteries, but it will also feed our system if we're putting a demand on it. We started a blog. I thought the kids would be comfortable knowing that we were still alive. And so there's a number of people out there who are also interested in living off-grid or living away from the city. And I think it gives them an opportunity to kind of just follow along and see what some of the challenges are, what some of the benefits are. Something I like up here is the fact that we've got a lake just across the road, and it's nice to go canoeing in the evening or go down and cool off in the day.
The opportunity to do some of the things that I've always wanted to do. I grew up in that era of Laura Ingalls and had dreams of being able to, manage all those different things for myself. Sewing and having chickens and gardening and wild harvesting, and then, making your own soap, and just being able to do all that. It's just a different life, and we love it more and more. The longer we're here, the more we like it.
If you enjoyed meeting Art and Mary, you should definitely check out their blog. We'll put a link to it in the description below. We want to thank Audible again for sponsoring this video. We think audiobooks are an awesome way to reduce the amount of physical stuff you have in your living space or in your suitcase, and you can listen to them pretty much anytime, anywhere, and on any device. Right now, we're interested in listening to The Atomic Habits by James Clear because we want to dive deeper into the idea that tiny behavior shifts are a great way to make positive life changes and also help us better manage our time and productivity. Audible also has Audible Originals, which are custom audiobooks you can't get anywhere else. You can start listening with a 30-day Audible trial and choose 1 audiobook and 2 Audible Originals absolutely free. Visit audible.com/exploringalternatives, or if you're in the US, you can text Exploring Alternatives to 500-500. So if you want to try Audible for the first time, you can get a free audiobook plus 2 Audible Originals when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/exploringalternatives. And if you're in the US, you can text Exploring Alternatives to 500-500. Thanks so much for watching. Please share this video if you liked it. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to check out our playlists. There's tons of great videos there.